Hi everybody and welcome to Aquadream. And as you can see, today I have a new project. And today I'm going to make an aquarium for a barbershop. This barbershop has a very nice room. It's very bright with lots of plants outside and inside. So this place is just perfect for an aquarium. And they want to make a natural corner for their customers. While they're waiting for their haircut, they can just sit and enjoy this peaceful view of a beautiful aquarium. As you can see, it will be a big bowl aquarium with no filter and no CO2 like all my bowl aquariums. And this is this is the largest bowl aquarium. I already have one like this, so this is my second this large bowl aquarium. And you might ask, why bowl aquarium? Why for this cabinet, for this beautiful cube-shaped cabinet, why did you choose a bowl aquarium? Well, the answer is yes, of course, I agree. The cube aquarium on that cabinet would look just also stunning. But first of all, I like bowl aquariums, and they are budget and they are simple and much easier to maintain. The plants I'm going to use for this project today, they don't require this additional CO2, they don't require constant trimming. So I want to keep this aquarium as simple as possible. The scape will be as simple as possible. This will be a kind of Iwagumi scape, and for the first time for this Iwagumi scape, like all my previous bowl, tank and Iwagumi styles, they were with a Monte Carlo carpet plant, but this time I really want to try to make the kind of Iwagumi layout, but with the tenellum grass, because tenellum grass is one of my favorite plants. It grows very well and it covers the full foreground. It doesn't require the additional CO2. It grows fast and cleans up water, and the whole ecosystem is very stable with that plant. I also got one bush of Cryptocoryne and Cryptocoryne parva as well that I'm going to use. And for the background plant, I also got one that I will show you later. Yeah, so this tank is 50 centimeters in diameter. It's quite big, but the shape is a little bit different from the one I have here in my studio. You can see that bowl over there. The bowl here is much higher and not as wide as this one. So this bowl is 1 centimeter wider, but it is not as high as this bowl. So the shape is a little bit different. First, I thought about making that bowl aquarium like a natural style, same as I have here, with a piece of wood, with rocks and different species of plants. But it was difficult this time to find this size of the bowl, and the only one I found was with this shape. And because it's not as high as that bowl, I decided to do it as Iwagumi scape. Almost no tall plants with no wood. And I also want to make this aquarium as simple as possible. So when I come every week to maintain this aquarium, I don't need to spend a lot of time on it, because to go to another place is kind of difficult for me, and I want to just come there once a week, just change water, add all the necessary liquids, and that's all. It will not require any trimming. The tenellum also, I like this plant because it grows quite high for the first time, but if you want it to continue growing smaller, you can maintain it by cutting it. But first you need to wait until it's spread everywhere, so you need to give it time to grow and to root. Then you can do some trimming, but not too much. If you cut it a little bit, it will continue growing, but it will continue growing smaller, which I want to test and I want to do with that tank in the future. The light also, that's the first time I use this light for the bowl tank. This light I already used for my 110 centimeters biotop river tank over there, if you remember. It's 35 watt and it's the right spectrum and it's the right intensity, so it covers the whole foreground of that white bowl, so it should be enough for the plants. I also like this light because you can extend the length, so you can make it shorter, you can make it higher, which is very good. So first I'm going to make that aquarium. I will keep it with me for 3 or 4 weeks until everything grows well, everything is rooted and the biosystem is ready and stable, and then I will transfer it to the barbershop and make a video of that aquarium in that beautiful place. Also today I'm going to do another new thing. As you know, I'm always trying to do and test different things, and all of them actually work. And as you know, for the first layer, for the biological filtration for all my tanks with no filter, doesn't matter, I always use, for the first layer, I always use either river pebbles, fine lava rock, or expanded clay. So these three ingredients, I use either one of them. Depends on what I have at the moment, or depends on what I find on the market. But usually I use river pebbles. Last few projects I used fine lava rock as the first layer, and all of this media all work perfectly. Yeah, so you can use any of them. You can use river pebbles or lava rock or expanded clay. It's up to you. In today's project I want to experiment, and I want to use all of them because I have a little bit of each of them. So I made a mix of the lava rock, river pebbles, and expanded clay, and some river sand, mixed it together, so I got that perfect biological filtration for bacteria colonies layer for this aquarium. And let's see in the future if it works even better than in my other tanks. Alright guys, I think we can start now, and as always, first layer I will show it to you. So I already mixed it in the bucket. So this is the expanded clay. I used that expanded clay for my first aquariums, and they are still here in my studio, and they are like 3-4 years old, and they're still growing, they're still fine, and I don't even want to rebuild them. Actually, it is time to rebuild them, but I'm just busy with my other project. So expanded clay works also perfectly for the bacteria and for the biological filtration. You can also add this to your filter. Also fine lava rock here, fine lava rock with the sand together, and also river pebbles, everything mixed together here. So I got quite a lot of it, but if I don't use all of it today for this tank, I'm going to use it for my future projects. Also for the substrate, as you already know, for all my recent projects I always use two types of substrate. One is produced locally, and it's like muddy based substrate in granules like this. So I put it as the first layer of the nutritious substrate, and then I use just a regular aquarium soil, any brand I can find. It can be Chinese brand, Japanese brand. Today's is like this, Japanese or Chinese, and I like this substrate because it's very fine. It's very nice for small aquariums, especially for nano aquariums. It's very fine particles, so I'm gonna use that one. And as you know, for almost, I think, all my previous old aquariums, I always used a thin layer of vermicast as the additional nutritious substrate for the plants. And every aquarium where I use that vermicast, all of these aquariums are showing, even after 2, 3, 4 years, they are still showing a very nice growth of plants, which is, I think, a sign of that nutritious, very nice substrate. And especially it's very good to use for your carpet plants, like Monte Carlo. Carpet plants require a lot of nutrition, so very nutritious substrate. So for today's project I'm going to use two types of this substrate and a little bit of vermicast. And as you remember, I used the coconut fiber, also a thin layer, which I also think works very well by providing nutrients to the plants and making pH of water stable, and it cleans up water as well. So all the tanks where I use the coconut fiber are showing a very stable ecosystem. Even in the first month of the new tank, it didn't have any new tank syndrome. So I think that coconut fiber might be a reason of that stability. So I'm also going to use eat today. So for the nutritious substrate today I have 4 ingredients, and for the bacterial layer I also have 4 ingredients. So let's mix everything today and see how it works in the future.
For example, this Iwagumi bowl, it is almost 2.5 years old and it's still looking good, it's still fine, and the Monte Carlo here is still growing, it's still photosynthesizing, and as all my bowls there is no filter, no extra CO2 system, and it's still doing well. Of course I'm thinking of updating it or of refreshing it, and I might do it soon because I want the Monte Carlo to look fresher and thicker. I don't know if you can see, but there are already some gaps, and the Monte Carlo is not as thick as it was the first year and year and a half, and it is not as bright green as it was at the beginning. But anyway, it still looks good. And so what I did, for if you haven't watched the video of building that bowl, what I used here is also vermicast. So I think it is another proof that using vermicast, it is very beneficial for the plants, for a long-term growing plants, especially for carpet plants, because carpet plants like Monte Carlo, it does not require the additional CO2, but it does require the nutritious substrate. So what I use here is vermicast, and I also added some root tubs here, I remember. If you don't have root tubs, for some of my also tanks, I use granules fertilizer for the flowers, which I bought on the flower market. It also works very well, and it also benefits the plant growth for a long term. Or if we look at this bowl is just amazing. It never had any issue from the beginning, not even a sign of algae in this bowl. Also no filter, no CO2. Iwagumi, look at this carpet and look at this Monte Carlo here. It is more than a year old already, and the Monte Carlo looks so good here. So at that time when I built that aquarium, I didn't have vermicast, but what I wanted to experiment with is the coconut fiber. So I added a thin layer of coconut fiber as an extra feed for this Monte Carlo plant, and I think it works very well for the plant growth, and it also works very well as the additional biological filtration. I think what I've noticed is using the coconut fiber also helps to clean the water and keep the pH of water stable, and the growth of the Monte Carlo in this tank and the stable ecosystem here, I think it's one of the proofs that coconut fiber also a very beneficial additional substrate for your tank. Same with this tiny Iwagumi, only 17 centimeters in diameter, with a huge colony of yellow shrimp. They continue breeding in this tank. I think it's just amazing how nature can be stable, beautiful, and works in such a tiny bowl like this. And the shrimps are feeling very well. They're breeding all the time, so I just put them some food so you can see all of them. And sometimes I put that food in a small net so I can catch them easily. Sometimes there are just too many of them in such a small tank, so sometimes I take some of them and I put to my other tanks. And in this tiny Iwagumi bowl, I also built it at the same time as the previous one. And I also used the coconut fiber here. No vermicast, but coconut fiber and just regular aquarium soil.
Today I decided to show you everything at the beginning, so then we can just focusing on working and not talking anymore. So for the plants, today I have Cryptocoryne parva. Often use this plant, very nice for low-tech tanks, for all the aquariums with no CO2, also does not require additional CO2, works well in all the tanks. My favorite tenellum, also Cryptocoryne wendtii, and also this background plant, a long plant, like grass plant, it's called CO₂. It's native from Southeast Asia, from Vietnam, Thailand, and it also called Cyperus helferi. I think it's the same family of the plant. So it's very beautiful, nice plant. It can grow submerged and immersed as well. And guys, for the rocks, I'm using the Seiryu rock like this. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 2 big ones and 4 small ones, so I'm going to play with them. I have some extra if I need it, but I don't want to use much of it. Just a few rocks, just to keep it simple. Let's see how it goes, how it looks like. I'm going to move the substrate, will be a little bit higher at the back. Alright guys, let's get started. Can't wait to see the final result.
Wow, guys, look at this hardscape. I didn't even play with the rocks much. The rocks just themselves fell into place as needed. So I didn't really had time to play. I just put them and it looks amazing already. So I don't want really change anything. I don't really want to change the rocks or their position. I think their position is just well. I don't know if camera shows you the whole view, but I'm looking at the camera and it actually looks a little bit different than it's in real. So hopefully you can enjoy that view of that hardscape, same as me. And this is actually the first time I use this type of rocks for Iwagumi project, so I'm also very excited, and I think this rock's just stunning for Iwagumi. All of these patterns, all of these colors, these shapes of these rocks, it's just, these rocks were made especially for Iwagumi projects. It just looks amazing. Alright guys, all the plants are ready for planting. Parva, Cryptocoryne parva. The roots are very long. I'm going to cut the roots before I plant it. Same with the Cryptocoryne wendtii and tenellum. Tenellum I don't cut roots. It's fine. Let's do planting. We are finished, guys. I still have a lot of leftovers of tenellum and Cryptocoryne parva, and I don't really know where do I put it. All my tanks are full of plants. I don't have any space anywhere to place it. So that means I will have to set up another aquarium soon, as soon as possible. So Cryptocoryne parva and Cryptocoryne wendtii are usually slow-growing plants, so they need much more time to adapt to a new environment. It takes longer for them to get rooted and start their full growth. Tenellum is great. It's a great plant because it's fast-growing plant. It shows the full growth already after the first week, and it will start spreading all around. So while Cryptocoryne is adapting to a new environment, the tenellum will grow fast and will help to clean up water to take in all of that excess nutrients that will be released in the first few weeks by the substrate. And I'm also going to change water every day for the first week to avoid the ammonia spikes, and so the plants will be always in fresh water to help them to start growing. And as always, I'm going to add bacteria and water conditioner after each water change. Now I'm going to fill up the tank with water and plant the last background plant, and that's it, and we will be finished. Alright, this background plant is ready. I planted just a little bit. I also have some leftover. I don't want to plant too much. I think it's enough plants, and I think it looks amazing. Look how this glass magnifies the rocks. I actually wanted these rocks to look a bit bigger, so the closer everything is to the camera, the smaller are plants and rocks, and the further away all the rocks and plants, the bigger they are. So it creates kind of deepness of this tank. I really like it. I think it's so beautiful. I can't wait to see this cape growing. The plants will change its shape, its size. I can't wait the tenellum to completely cover the foreground and grow everywhere, and it will be so grassy. The water will be so crystal clear in a few days. I can't wait to see it. And when the water is crystal clear, you will see it deeper, and you can observe all the plants at the back. Alright guys, it's been 7 days since I set up this aquarium. I wanted to wait a little bit longer this time because I wanted the tenellum to develop a bit more, so the view will be much better, because I want to show you that for the first time at the beginning these rocks were magnifying by the glass and were looking too big, but now you see that the tenellum is growing up and it's growing higher, and it makes the rocks look much smaller, right? So it covers half of the rocks, and you can see how beautifully the tenellum is growing. That's one of my favorite plants. So if you ever see the tenellum in your aquarium store, don't hesitate to buy it, because it's a great plant for both low-tech and high-tech aquariums. Some of the leaves of Cryptocoryne parva were melted, but that's fine. It's a part of the process, so I just removed all of this to keep the water clean leaves. And I changed water every day, 50%, and after each change I added bacteria and water conditioner. So today is the 7th day. From tomorrow I will start changing water maybe once in 2 or 3 days, and after the 2nd week I can already change water only once a week. But it is always recommended to continue observing your tank, because each aquarium is different and the ecosystem, the biobalance is always different for each tank. So sometimes it can take longer to stabilize your ecosystem. It depends on the size, on many factors, on the size of your aquarium, on the plants you used, and on the way you take care of it. The Cryptocoryne at the back is looking great. It's going higher and the leaves are going higher, which I wanted it to be like that, so it will look like trees behind the rocks. Looks very nice, and you can see that all the plants are photosynthesizing now. You can see all of these oxygen bubbles moving up to the surface. So the tenellum will keep growing. That's only the first week, and this tank will look completely different in a month or even 3 months. And you see my previous shallow project, you see that tenellum is growing so beautifully here. It's spreading all around and covering all the surface, and so this tank is soon moving to its owner. And you can see how Anubias is growing beautifully in its immersed form here. So I was afraid that this Anubias gold with the lighter green leaves, I thought it won't be so nicely growing in its immersed form, but actually it's growing very well. I'm so happy with that plant. I usually use only non-petite like this, but I have that gold Anubias only in one of my tanks, so I decided to try it again.
Right guys, if you like my new low-tech bowl, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, also to follow all the changes and development of this aquarium. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram page and TikTok. And don't forget to visit my store, where you can find almost all the equipment that I personally use for all my aquariums. And you can also find that light that I use for this bowl in my store. But you have to order this light separately. The stand, the stick and the light bulb. I can't wait to see this tank in 3 or 6 months. It will be amazing, guys. And I'll see you in my new project. Goodbye.